First contact. In the Grand Council chambers, representatives from over 30 alien civilizations gathered around a circular table. Massive holograms showed a small fleet of ships that had been detected entering the outer reaches of Council space. These vessels came from a previously uncontacted world in an isolated spiral arm. Commander Alex Ryan straightened his uniform as he led the human delegation into the chamber. Despite his nerves, he maintained a confident smile. This was humanity's first official contact with the galactic community, and everything depended on making a good impression. The Earth Defense Force welcomes this opportunity for peaceful exchange, Alex said, standing tall despite being a full head shorter than many of the alien representatives. Beside him, Lieutenant Olivia Martins noticed the subtle changes in the aliens' postures. Several representatives exchanged glances that seemed dismissive. The tallest aliens, with blue-scaled skin and elaborate crests, made what appeared to be laughing gestures to each other. "These are the Zarnians," whispered Olivia. "They control most of the military power in this sector." The lead Zarnian, Ambassador Kreth, spoke in a booming voice that the human translators converted to English. "We expected more ships from your world. Your fleet is remarkably small." Alex maintained his diplomatic smile. "Earth believes in quality over quantity, Ambassador." This prompted more chuckling among the Zarnians. Their ambassador gestured to the hologram displaying the human vessels. "Such tiny ships. They would hardly register as personal transports for our citizens." Olivia tensed beside Alex, but he gave her a subtle signal to remain calm. The head of the council, an ancient being with translucent skin, called for order. "We welcome Earth to the galactic community. As is customary, we must assign your species a classification based on technological advancement and resource capabilities." The classification process lasted hours. The humans presented information about Earth's achievements, resources, and potential contributions to galactic trade. Throughout the presentation, the Zarnian delegation made little effort to hide their amusement. "Based on our assessment, the Council had finally announced Earth will be classified as a Tier 5 civilization with limited interstellar privileges." Alex couldn't hide his disappointment. Tier 5 was the second lowest classification possible. It meant severe restrictions on trade routes, resource acquisition, and technology exchange. "Council members," Alex said, "we respectfully request reconsideration. Earth has made remarkable strides in quantum computing, material science, and energy efficiency." The Zarnian ambassador laughed openly now. "Your ships used chemical propulsion for sublight travel. Even our garbage scows have gravimetric drives." "The Council's decision is final," said the Council head. "Earth may petition for reclassification in 50 standard cycles." After the humans were dismissed, they gathered in their assigned quarters aboard the Council station. "That went poorly," said Olivia, pacing the small room. "Did you see how they looked at us? Like we were children playing with toys." Alex nodded grimly. "The Zarnians were the worst. They practically laughed us out of the chamber." "What do we do now?" asked one of the junior officers. "We accept their classification," Alex said. "We follow their rules, learn everything we can, and report back to Earth. This is just the beginning." Meanwhile, in the luxurious Zarnian embassy section, Ambassador Kreth met with his military advisors. "The humans will make excellent clients," Kreth said, examining a model of Earth. "Their planet is rich in resources they don't know how to properly utilize." "Their ships are pathetic," said General Morv. "We could take their entire system with a single battle group if necessary." "Patience," counseled Kreth. "Let them believe we respect their sovereignty. In time, they'll willingly give us what we want through unfavorable trade agreements. They're naive enough to believe fair exchange exists in the galaxy." The Zarnians laughed together, unaware that their dismissal of humanity would prove to be their greatest mistake. The assessment. 6 months passed since the disappointing first contact with the Galactic Council. Earth's leaders had accepted the humiliating Tier 5 classification, but worked tirelessly behind the scenes. In a sprawling underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Nathan Hughes hunched over his workstation. Holographic displays filled the air around him, showing detailed scans of Zarnian vessels. "Look at this," Nathan said, pointing to a section of alien hull. "Their shield generators have a regular pulse pattern. There's a millisecond gap every 3 seconds. Kate Wilson, the chief engineer assigned to the analysis team, leaned forward. Her eyes widened as she processed what she was seeing. "You're right," she said, "and look at their power distribution. It's inefficient. They're routing energy through multiple conversion nodes when a direct path would be simpler." Across the room, Ethan Parker studied battle footage obtained from Council archives. As a military advisor with extensive combat experience, he immediately recognized flaws in the Zarnian approach. "Their tactics are predictable," Ethan announced. "They rely on overwhelming force rather than strategy. Their formations never change. They always attack in the same pattern." Admiral Lisa Campbell entered the facility, her presence immediately commanding attention. The team gathered around the central table as she spoke. "What have we learned about our superiors in the galaxy?" she asked, her voice laced with determination. Nathan stepped forward. "The aliens think their technology is advanced, but it's just different. They've developed along evolutionary paths that fit their physiology. They never had to solve problems the way humans did." Kate nodded. "Their ships are massive because they can be, not because they need to be. We've already designed systems that are 20% more efficient than theirs, smaller, faster, and with fewer resources." Admiral Campbell smiled for the first time in months. "So their mockery of our tiny fleet might become their undoing." "Exactly," said Ethan. "They expect capital ships and massive weapon systems. They've never considered that smaller vessels could be equally effective with the right technology." Over the next weeks, Earth scientists worked relentlessly. They reverse-engineered alien technology from the limited samples available and improved upon every design. Human innovation flourished under pressure, producing results that would have astonished the Council. Kate led a team that created a new hull material that absorbed sensor scans rather than reflecting them. Nathan developed targeting systems with twice the accuracy of Zarnian weapons. Ethan designed battle formations specifically intended to confuse alien tactical expectations. In a secure meeting room, Admiral Campbell presented the findings to Earth's Leadership Council. "We've made remarkable progress," she reported. "Our ships may be small, but they now pack capabilities that could surprise any Zarnian commander." "Should we inform the Council of our advancements?" asked one of the political representatives. "Perhaps they would reconsider our classification." Admiral Campbell shook her head. "No, let them continue to underestimate us. It's our greatest advantage." The leadership approved funding for a secret initiative, Operation Silent Thunder. 5 existing vessels would be retrofitted with the new technology, and 3 new ships would be built from scratch using the advanced designs. As the meeting concluded, Kate approached Admiral Campbell with a tablet displaying the specifications for the new vessels. "They're beautiful," said the Admiral, examining the sleek designs, "and invisible to standard Zarnian sensors." Kate added with pride, "They'll never see us coming." "Let's hope we never need to use these advantages," the Admiral said. "But if the Zarnians push us, they'll learn that mocking human ingenuity was their first and last mistake." Unknown to Earth, the Zarnian Empire had already begun moving ships toward the Sol system, eager to establish dominance over the primitive newcomers to galactic politics. The challenge. Captain Chris Bennett of the EDF Interceptor frowned as he studied the sensor readings. His small patrol vessel had been monitoring the outer edges of the solar system when it detected unusual activity near Neptune. "Are you seeing this?" he asked his second-in-command. "Yes, sir. Zarnian mining ships. 3 of them, with a military escort." Chris checked the treaty terms again, though he had memorized them weeks ago. The agreement clearly stated that no alien vessels could conduct resource extraction within Earth's solar system without express permission. Yet here were the Zarnians, boldly setting up operations on one of Neptune's moons. "Record everything. Chris ordered. Full sensor sweep. Document their positions, activities, ship types. We need evidence for the Council. For 3 days, the interceptor observed from a safe distance. The Zarnians expanded their operation, bringing in more equipment and setting up what appeared to be permanent structures. When a fourth mining vessel arrived, Chris knew it was time to report back. Ambassador Susan Howard presented the evidence to the Galactic Council a week later. The human delegation had prepared meticulously, organizing the data into a clear case of treaty violation. As you can see, Susan said, pointing to the holographic display, Zarnian ships have established mining operations in our system without consultation or permission. The council chamber remained silent for a moment before erupting in dismissive murmurs. The Zarnian ambassador, Kreth, rose to speak. These are merely scientific outposts, he claimed smoothly. We are conducting research that will benefit the entire galactic community, including Earth. Susan presented additional evidence, scans showing resource extraction equipment and cargo vessels, leaving with holds full of rare minerals. The head of the council raised a hand for silence. The evidence is inconclusive. The Zarnian Empire has assured us these are temporary research installations. With mining equipment? Susan asked incredulously. From his seat, Ambassador Kreth made a sound that translated as laughter. Perhaps if humans had developed proper scanning technology, they would understand what they were seeing. Other council members joined in the mocking laughter. Earth's complaint was officially dismissed as a misunderstanding. When Susan returned to Earth, the situation had deteriorated further. A small human mining vessel, the Pioneer, had approached one of Neptune's other moons, far from the Zarnian operation, only to be destroyed by Zarnian patrol ships. They claimed it was a navigational accident. Admiral Campbell reported during the emergency meeting. 23 people dead, and they call it an accident. President Laura Morgan's expression was grim. They're testing us, seeing how much we'll tolerate. The council won't help, Susan said bitterly. They sided with the Zarnians on every point. Earth held a day of mourning for the Pioneer crew. Memorial services were broadcast globally, and flags flew at half-mast. But behind closed doors, military leaders gathered to discuss their response. Operation Silent Thunder is ready, Admiral Campbell announced. Our retrofitted ships can deploy immediately. And the new vessels? President Morgan asked. 2 weeks from completion. But even without them, we can make our point. The president stared at the holographic display, showing Zarnian ships spreading throughout the outer solar system. More appeared every day, each one pushing deeper into Earth's territory. They think we're weak, she said quietly. That we'll accept whatever they do because we're afraid of their power. We aren't weak, Admiral Campbell replied. We've just been patient. President Morgan nodded slowly, making the hardest decision of her career. Launch Operation Silent Thunder. Show them exactly what our tiny fleet can do. As they left the meeting, Chris Bennett received his new orders. His interceptor would lead the first response team. Within hours, Earth's secretly upgraded vessels began moving toward the outer planets, traveling in complete stealth mode. The Zarnians continued their work, unaware that everything was about to change. The preparation. The underground hangar buzzed with activity as technicians made final adjustments to Earth's small fleet. 5 retrofitted vessels and 2 newly completed ships stood ready, their modified hulls gleaming under the harsh lights. Engineer Daniel Foster crawled out from beneath the weapons system. He had been calibrating on the lead ship, the Defiant. Wiping grease from his hands, he approached Commander Alex Rand. The miniaturized pulse cannons are installed, Daniel reported. Each one has only 20% the mass of a standard Zarnian weapon, but delivers 30% more firepower. Alex nodded appreciatively. Will they recognize the technology? Unlikely, Daniel replied with a slight smile. We completely redesigned the energy signature. They'll register a weapon discharge but won't know what hit them until it's too late. Across the hangar, Lieutenant Olivia Martinez led a team through communication drills. The new protocols she had developed used quantum entanglement to create an unhackable link between ships. All teams synchronized, she announced, looking up from her console. Our communications are now invisible to standard monitoring. The Zarnians won't even know we're talking to each other. Admiral Campbell walked through the hangar, inspecting each vessel personally. She stopped at the newest ship, a sleek craft named Vengeance. "How's the cloaking system?" she asked the chief technician. "Perfect, Admiral. It bends light around the hull and absorbs scanner waves rather than reflecting them. We're effectively invisible until we choose to be seen." In a nearby simulation room, Captain Chris Bennett ran his crew through virtual combat scenarios. They practiced against simulated Zarnian battle formations, developing tactics that exploited the weaknesses Ethan Parker had identified months earlier. Again, Chris ordered after they completed another successful run. "This time, with a 3-second delay on communications, we need to be prepared for every possibility." Meanwhile, at the White House, President Laura Morgan faced tough questions from her cabinet. "This is a major risk," said the Secretary of State. "If we fail, the Zarnians could use it as an excuse for full-scale invasion. And if we do nothing," the President countered, "they've already killed our people and invaded our system. This isn't aggression, it's defense." "The Council will side with the Zarnians," someone else pointed out. "The Council has already made their position clear," President Morgan replied. "We're on our own, which means we make our own decisions now." After the meeting, she called Admiral Campbell for a final assessment. "Are we ready?" the President asked simply. "As ready as we'll ever be," the Admiral replied. "Our people are trained. Our technology is tested. What we lack in numbers, we make up for in innovation. And the success probability." There was a pause before the Admiral answered. "Based on our simulations, 78%. Better odds than I expected when we started this project." President Morgan considered this. "Proceed with the operation. But remember, this is about defending our territory, not starting a war. Disable their ships if possible. Minimal casualties." "Understood, Madam President." That evening, crews boarded their vessels for final preparations. Commander Ryan addressed the assembled personnel before they departed. "They called us primitive," he said, his voice echoing through the hangar. "They laughed at our tiny fleet. But today, we'll show them that humanity's greatest strength has always been our ability to adapt and overcome." He paused, looking at the determined faces before him. "We're not looking for glory or conquest. We're defending our home. Remember that when you're out there." At midnight, the hangar doors slid open. One by one, Earth's ships rose silently into the dark sky, their advanced engines leaving no visible exhaust trail. As they reached orbit, Captain Bennett sent one final message before activating the cloaking systems. "Operation Silent Thunder is underway." The ships disappeared from all monitoring systems, vanishing like ghosts as they accelerated toward the outer planets where the Zarnian forces waited, completely unaware of what was coming. The encounter. The Zarnian mining operation near Neptune had tripled in size over the past month. Massive ships tore into the moon's surface, extracting valuable minerals while smaller vessels transported the resources to waiting cargo carriers. Commander Drez, the Zarnian officer in charge, watched from the bridge of his battle cruiser with satisfaction. "How much longer until this moon is depleted?" he asked his mining supervisor. "Perhaps 2 more weeks at current rates. Then we can move to the next target." Drez nodded approvingly. "The humans haven't even attempted to interfere. Just as predicted, all talk, no action." A junior officer approached, looking slightly confused. "Sir, sensors are detecting some unusual energy fluctuations near the outer mining perimeter." "Probably just cosmic radiation," Drez said dismissively. "These primitive systems are full of such anomalies." Captain Chris Bennett's voice was calm as he gave the order from the bridge of his cloaked ship. "All vessels, prepare to decloak on my mark. Formation Delta. Target their weapon systems and propulsion only." The 7 Earth ships had surrounded the Zarnian operation, positioning themselves strategically around the larger vessels. Each human captain waited, fingers hovering over controls. 3, 2, 1. Mark. Suddenly, 7 ships appeared where empty space had been moments before. The Zarnian sensors blared with urgent alerts as the human vessels seemed to materialize from nowhere. "Impossible," shouted Commander Drez. "Where did they come from?" Before he could issue orders, precision strikes hit his ship's main weapons array. Similar attacks disabled the propulsion systems of 3 mining vessels simultaneously. "Return fire," Drez commanded, but his weapons officer shook his head. "Targeting systems are offline. We can't get a lock." Lieutenant Olivia Martinez led her ship through a series of maneuvers that would have been impossible for the larger Zarnian vessels. Her smaller craft zipped between 2 enemy ships, firing precisely at their communication arrays before they could coordinate a defense. "This is not possible," the Zarnian second-in-command stammered. "These are the same primitive humans from the council meeting. Their ships were nothing like this." On the Defiant, Commander Alex Ryan opened a communication channel to all Zarnian vessels. "This is the Earth Defense Force. Your mining operation violates our treaty rights. Power down your remaining systems immediately." A Zarnian battle cruiser attempted to target the Defiant, but engineer Daniel Foster's defensive innovations proved their worth. The Zarnian energy beams dispersed harmlessly against the advanced shields. "Their weapons are ineffective," Daniel reported with a satisfied smile. "Shield holding at 97%. The Zarnians attempted to call for reinforcements, but found their long-range communications jammed by Olivia's team. Isolated and outmaneuvered, their massive fleet suddenly seemed sluggish and vulnerable. "Impossible," Commander Drez repeated, watching as another of his ships lost power. "These cannot be human vessels. This must be some trick by the Varlixians or another advanced race." Captain Bennett's ship performed a perfect loop around the largest Zarnian cruiser, targeting its engine section with surgical precision. The massive vessel drifted to a stop, powerless. "All Zarnian vessels have been neutralized," Chris reported. "No destruction, minimal casualties as ordered." Commander Drez stared in disbelief as the small human ship approached his disabled cruiser. On his view screen appeared the face of Captain Bennett. "Commander Drez, your vessels are disabled but intact. We will provide emergency life support if needed, but you must leave our system immediately once repairs are allowed." "This is an act of war," Drez sputtered. "The Council will hear of this." "We're counting on it," Chris replied calmly. "In fact, we've recorded everything. Your unauthorized mining, your unprovoked destruction of our pioneer vessel, and now, our measured response." As the human ships maintained their positions around the disabled Zarnian fleet, emergency messages finally broke through to the Galactic Council. The news spread quickly. The tiny human fleet had defeated a Zarnian mining force 10 times its size without destroying a single ship. The mockery had ended. The revelation. The Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. Representatives from 30 species spoke over one another as emergency session protocols flashed on every screen. At the center of the commotion stood Ambassador Kreth of the Zarnian Empire, his elaborate crest fully extended in anger. "This unprovoked attack on our research vessels demands immediate action," he shouted. "The humans must be punished." The council head raised all 4 hands for silence. "We will hear from the Earth delegation before making any judgments." Ambassador Susan Howard walked calmly to the speaking platform, followed by Commander Alex Ryan. Neither showed any sign of intimidation, despite the hostile glares from the Zarnian section. "Esteemed council members," Susan began, "we have evidence to present." She activated a holographic display that filled the chamber with images. The recording showed Zarnian mining operations in Earth's solar system, the destruction of the Pioneer, and finally, the precise disabling of the Zarnian fleet. "As you can see," Susan continued, "Earth did not attack. We defended our sovereign territory after multiple violations and the murder of our citizens. Ambassador Kreth interrupted. These are fabrications. The humans attacked peaceful research vessels. Commander Ryan stepped forward. The evidence is verified and time-stamped. But perhaps more telling is this. He played a recording of Commander Dres speaking to his mining supervisor about depleting the moon's resources. The chamber fell silent as the Zarnian's words echoed through the room. Furthermore, Susan added, we have similar evidence from 7 other Tier 5 civilizations who have suffered Zarnian research in their systems. Murmurs spread through the chamber as representatives from smaller worlds nodded in agreement. One by one, they stood to voice similar complaints. The council head looked troubled. Ambassador Kreth, how do you explain these allegations? This is absurd, Kreth sputtered. Even if we were mining, which I do not admit, how could such a primitive species possibly defeat our advanced fleet? Their technology was assessed just months ago. Commander Ryan smiled slightly. Perhaps your assessment was flawed. Impossible, Kreth declared. Your ships are tiny, your weapons primitive. This must have been the work of another power operating human vessels. Would you like a demonstration? Ryan asked quietly. The council chamber grew still. What kind of demonstration? The council head inquired. A simple display of Earth's current capabilities, Ryan replied. To put these questions to rest. After heated debate, the council agreed. Representatives would observe a controlled military exercise between Earth and Zarnian forces to verify the humans' capabilities. As they left the chamber, Admiral Campbell contacted Ryan from Earth. How did it go? They took the bait, Ryan replied. The Zarnians still believe it must have been a fluke or outside interference. They've agreed to a demonstration. Perfect, the Admiral said. Their pride will be their downfall. Meanwhile, in the Zarnian embassy, Ambassador Kreth met with military advisors in a secure room. This is impossible, said General Morv, reviewing the footage. Their ships moved in ways ours cannot. Their weapons penetrated our shields as if they weren't there. It's a trick, Kreth insisted. They must have had help from the Varlixians or other enemies of our empire. And if it's not a trick? Asked a junior officer. Kreth dismissed the thought with a wave. Humans are primitive. Their planet is barely unified. Their history is filled with petty conflicts among themselves. They cannot possibly have surpassed us. General Morv looked less certain. We should prepare our best battle group for this demonstration. No chances. As word spread through the council station, representatives from other worlds began approaching the human delegation. Many offered quiet congratulations or expressed interest in future discussions. They're afraid of the Zarnians, Susan observed as another representative hurried away after a brief conversation. Not anymore, Alex replied. Now they're curious about us. And when we complete this demonstration, they'll be lining up to form alliances. Back on Earth, engineers and tactical officers prepared for the upcoming display of human ingenuity. The mockery had stopped, but the revelation was just beginning. The recognition. A massive viewing platform orbited an uninhabited gas giant in neutral space. Representatives from every council species gathered behind transparent barriers to watch the arranged demonstration. The atmosphere was tense with anticipation. On one side of the designated area waited 12 Zarnian warships, their imposing hulls gleaming in the distant sunlight. General Morv had selected his finest vessels and crews, determined to prove the earlier defeat was merely a fluke. "Where are the humans?" asked one of the council observers, peering into the seemingly empty space opposite the Zarnian fleet. As if in answer, 3 small ships appeared. Just 3 against 12 Zarnian warships. Murmurs of surprise rippled through the watching crowd. Only 3 vessels. Ambassador Kreth laughed. This will be over quickly. The middle ship was captained by Chris Bennett. To his left, Lieutenant Olivia Martinez commanded the Swift. And to his right, Engineer Kate Wilson piloted the newest vessel, the Ingenuity. All systems ready, Kate reported through their secure channel. They're bringing their full arsenal this time. Good, Chris replied. Let's make this count. The council head's voice echoed across all communication channels. This demonstration will proceed under strict safety protocols. Weapons are set to minimum power. The exercise will end when either side concedes or is fully disabled. General Morv's voice boomed confidently. We are ready to begin. Chris responded simply. So are we. A signal flashed, and the demonstration began. Immediately, the Zarnian fleet launched forward in their standard arrow formation, weapons charging. They expected the human vessels to retreat or scatter. Instead, the three ships accelerated directly toward the Zarnian formation. At the last possible moment, they split in different directions with impossible precision. The Zarnian ships fired, but their weapons found only empty space. Their maneuverability is incredible, gasped one council observer. Kate's ship spun in a tight spiral, passing between two massive Zarnian cruisers. As she passed, both enemy vessels suddenly lost power to their weapon systems. What happened? Demanded General Morv from his command ship. Unknown, sir. Our systems just shut down. Meanwhile, Olivia executed a series of movements that seemed to defy physics. Her small ship left a trail of disoriented Zarnian vessels, each one losing shields or propulsion systems after she passed nearby. This is not possible, shouted Ambassador Kreth from the viewing platform. They must be cheating. But the Council's monitors confirmed the humans were using only the ships and technology they had brought. There was no outside interference. Chris Bennett led his ship in a direct approach toward General Morv's command vessel. The Zarnian flagship fired everything it had, creating a wall of energy that should have vaporized the small human ship. Instead, Chris's vessel seemed to absorb the attacks, its advanced shields glowing slightly but holding firm. Then, with surgical precision, it fired a single pulse that disabled the Zarnian flagship's main power core. In less than 15 minutes, all 12 Zarnian vessels floated powerless. Not one had been destroyed, but none could continue fighting. The three human ships regrouped, completely undamaged. Silence fell across the viewing platform as the implications became clear. The Zarnians, with all their size and power, had been completely outclassed. The demonstration is complete, announced the council head, unable to hide the awe in their voice. In the days that followed, everything changed. The council voted unanimously to upgrade Earth's status to Tier 2, granting humans expanded rights throughout galactic space. Trade delegations from a dozen worlds requested meetings with Earth representatives. Several smaller civilizations sought protection agreements. In the main council chamber, Commander Alex Ryan stood with Admiral Campbell as they finalized Earth's new position in the galactic community. They're calling it the miracle of 3 ships, Alex said, showing the Admiral a data feed from galactic news networks. Not a miracle, the Admiral replied. Just human ingenuity. Across the chamber, Ambassador Kreth approached cautiously. His crest was flat against his head in a gesture of humility. The Zarnian Empire would like to discuss peaceful coexistence, he said stiffly. Alex nodded diplomatically. Earth is always open to peaceful relations. As the Zarnian walked away, Admiral Campbell smiled. From mockery to respect in one demonstration. Not bad for a tiny fleet. Outside the chamber window, stars stretched across the galaxy, now open to human exploration. The fleet might have been small, but humanity's future had suddenly become vast.